Hey guys, how are you? How are you this evening? Today, we have a very special Get to Know Your New Breed Training Center Black Belt episode. I hope you guys have been liking the other prior episodes. Today, we have with us the co-founder, one of the originating forefathers of the original New Breed Academy, Chicago, all the way back in November 2004. We have Black Belt, first degree Black Belt, no, second degree Black Belt. You second degree Black Belt.
Okay, third degree.
Okay, okay, third. You want a third? I'll give you a piece of tape. This will have to do. So there you go. No, yeah. So we have Kuan in the house. Kuan is again one of the forefathers of our school, of what we've become and everything. And we also have Maya here, who we'll talk a little bit later. Maya is here interviewing Kuan as well too. Because Kuan is her godfather, is her ninong, as they say and stuff. So she wants to be a part of this whole thing. So Kuan, say hello to everybody, please.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Mark. Hello, Maya. I am Maya's ninong. Maya is the reason I think I'm Catholic. I don't know. I'm 80% of the way there. I rejected Satan because of Maya and all of his works. And I accepted Jesus Christ as my personal savior. all impromptu, but yes, that's all accurate. In 2004, is that right, Mark?
2004, November 2004.
So I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 17 years. That can't be right.
No, more than that. More than that, G. No, 17 years? Yeah, 17?
17.
Well, yeah, when did you start? When exactly did you start? Because you started in Cincinnati, Ohio, where you're from.
I started right before going to college, and I started college in 2003. Yeah.
Yeah.
17 years now. Jesus.
Makes you feel any better? I'm over 20, on the wrong side of 20 there and stuff. But yeah, but like, so you came in. I first met you at Carlson's in September.
Fitplex.
Yes, at Fitplex. We were still at Fitplex and stuff. And like, God, I forget which first class. Like, I remember it was like a random night class with Darren Durham. He was the one teaching me and stuff. And, they still had the ring in there at Philplex and everything like that. And that other little upstairs, like, balcony area and stuff. And remember, who was it? God, who was it? Because they were basically saying, they had us partner together. And it's also, because it was also funny because we walked in, we made immediate eye contact because there were only 2 Asian people in there and stuff. So we're just like, all right, cool, we got to work together. So, that I remember.
I remember seeing you for the first time, and I remember actually thinking, I really don't want to roll with that guy. This is like, you were bigger then. Like, you weren't. You're a little. You're on the like 175, I think. I can't remember. You just seemed it. Maybe I was smaller. I think I was like 125 or 130 when I started. I was really skinny, and you had those ears. Even back then, I remember I was like, Jesus, I just never seen it before. It was like it was Sakuraba in Couture, and then you, right, with the ears. So, I remember that. We Fitplex, we used to have to put the mats down. Remember?
Yeah, before. Yeah. No one ever cleaned them. It was great.
Nope. Put them in the corner.
But you started jiu-jitsu before that, right? In Cincinnati, though. You were training in Cincinnati for a little bit?
I started going to classes formally with a Carlson Gracie affiliate. Junior used to live in Cincinnati for some reason. I don't know why, but he ended up in Cincinnati for like a year or two. So he started the school, and these guys just kept doing it. Really, really good guys, trained really hard. Didn't know anything. Just knew what like Junior had showed them years and years ago, right? But knew the fundamentals real well. Started training with a guy named Cliff Wallace. And that was in this like traditional martial arts school where same thing, we just trained when they didn't have classes. That was a few months before I left for college. And I trained for 2 months, and then I took my MMA fight when I was before I was 18. I think I was 17 when I took my MMA fight with 2 months of training. And I fought in the main event of the inaugural Kentucky Fighting Championships, the KFC, which was in Was it in Louisville? I think it was in Lexington, Kentucky. It was in the basement. It was like a little bit like Lionheart. It was way off the books. It was in the basement of a DoubleTree hotel, and they had clearly just made the cage that day. That day, they went to like Home Depot and bought the components to make the cage. Lost the fight. The guy kept hitting me in the back of the head. He was in my guard, and I didn't know anything. All I knew was the triangle. It was a full-on MMA fight. I don't even think I had a cup. I had the little white bad boy Valley Tudo shorts. I remember that. Or no, red nose Valley Tudo shorts. And he just kept hitting me in the back of the head. I got a concussion and vertigo afterwards, but I didn't know. I made it out of the first round. He got me in an armbar in the second round, and I just wouldn't tap. And from that day on, my goal, unstated, was I'm going to get so good at jiu-jitsu that I'm going to come back and find this guy and beat him in like the rematch, right? That's where it started. I essentially went to Northwestern to learn jiu-jitsu because that's where I knew Carlson was, and my only exposure to jiu-jitsu was these guys who trained with Carlson, and he was a living Gracie, the god of wars, living here in Chicago, within reach. So my parents don't know this. Nobody really knows this. I chose to go to Northwestern because it was in Chicago, so that I could do jiu-jitsu with Carlson Gracie. And that's how dumb I was. So that I could ride the red line down to the Fitplex, 5 days a week. But that's where it started. And then I think I met you a couple months in that first year. It was cold already by then.
Yeah.
Right? You guys were living in Wicker Park at the time.
Correct.
Right? And you had just come back from, was it the Philippines or
Delaware? I just moved back from Delaware. Yeah.
I remember. It was 16 years ago. Jesus. 17 years ago.
Yeah. And let's see here. There was that, and I remember Miles moved in 2004. So even before that, we were all kind of training together and stuff like that, and like training that whole year.
We started training together, and then immediately we became real fast friends.
Yeah.
I don't remember if you were living with Lynn then.
Lynn started living with me in December of 2003. So you met we had started hanging out a little bit before, and then you met her.
It really started one day. You were like, "Hey, what are you doing this weekend?" I'm like, "Nothing." All right, because I was fucking 18 in college, not doing anything. Right? He's like, and you said, "Do you want to go to Michigan? There's a tournament." What was that tournament? That's where Carlo and Darvin were, and Matt Jubera.
It was in Troy, Indiana. It was the Michigan State Brazilian
Warriors Challenge. No, there's something challenge.
Yes, I forget whatever it was, but it was like, you're right. Like, and it really all started there. I was just like, "What are you doing? You want to go compete?" And you just jumped in the car with me. So like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's go." And we went all the way to Troy, Indiana, because Lynn was there, and she was she just got a job for GM, and they sent her out there for training.
We picked her up, and then we went up. That's right.
Yeah, so we were all there, and then we all stayed in like this one kind of like extended stay place. Because they gave to Lynn for a little bit for like 2 weeks. We were there, and then we competed the next day.
Met Carlo and Darvin.
Met Carlo and Darvin and Matt Jubera.
And Jubera.
Don Woody. And then we all fought and did whatever the heck we were going to do over there and stuff. And then I remember that because we were driving back.
Champions Challenge.
That's what it was. Champions Challenge 2. I think it was number 2. But we went to that, and we were driving back, and you got sick on the way home.
I got sick. I was car sick for like 5 hours. and you had the radar detector, I remember.
I had the radar detector on the Beamer, and it just took off. Average like.
I would look up every now and then, and it would say like 115. I'm like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah, that was like, I remember we weren't even in Indiana yet, driving through Michigan. It was just put your head down, let's go. And they just floored it the whole way through and stuff. And
I remember that tournament. I remember fucking Darvin would not calm down when he was fighting. and he was winning some match. He passed the guy's guard, mounts him, and everybody's like, just calm down. Just calm down. 30 seconds left. You're winning. He was winning by like 2 points. And then he looks at us and he just rolls himself over. And then the guy stands up and passes his guard. I'll never forget that. And afterwards, we're like, why did any of that happen, Darvin? He's like, I don't know.
I remember when, oh God, it was like Memorial Day 2004, or pretty sure it's 2004. We went to Fogo de Chão. The first time we went to Fogo de Chão,
Yes.
where we weighed ourselves before. We're just like, all right, we gotta have a contest and eat as much as we freaking possibly can.
I got a fever afterward. I had like a meat fever in my gut.
It was like we ate double digits. We easily ate double digits in the weight. It was just ridiculous. Obviously, like food and like dessert and all this other shit and like whatever and stuff like that. But it was like double digits with
I had picanha, right?
Yeah.
Always remember that was. I remember thinking that was the best meal I'd ever had, and I remember specifically thinking this: how could a restaurant ever be better than this? Right? There's no way to do it. I actually spent some time thinking about it. I was like, what else could they do? Right? It was unlimited meat. We were drinking. They had that salad bar, which I didn't touch, but like it looked very nice. I was like, no way it could be better than this. And you know, it was pretty close. We went there. Was that with Dr. No, that was
no. It was just you, me, and Lynn.
Yeah, it was just us.
Yeah, it was just us. It was that first time. It was just you, Lynn, and I. We just all went and stuff. Fun fact, by the way, guys. People don't. In case you didn't pick up on it, Kuan went to Northwestern. Graduated, took law over there. You got into Northwestern, but one of the things that got you into Northwestern was the fact that you wrote a book, a national best-selling book. I'm sorry.
I needed both of them because I struggled in my last couple of years of high school. I was off the beaten path. Did a lot of not great things if you're trying to go to college. So those two books really helped.
So you and the two books, if I'm not, oh gosh, I forget the title. I'll let you fill it in. But they were, well, actually, go ahead, tell everybody about the two books.
I mean, they were published in China. They were just about growing up in America, in Ohio as a Chinese kid, and what that's like.
What was the title in case anyone wants to find it? Because I remember seeing it on Amazon.
It's I don't think you can find it anymore. It's they stopped publishing it for a while.
Yeah, I do remember seeing it in Amazon.
They started it back up. The first one was called New Heights in America. The second one didn't have an English title. They're in Chinese, so.
But they both were national bestsellers in China, correct?
They were on the nonfiction bestseller list, right? Which is a little less prestigious, I guess, than the fiction one. But yeah, they did enough so that they really helped pay for college, and then they helped get me into college. Yeah, but that's right. Yeah.
Again, for all of our students and stuff, for all of our new students, there's a lot of you that don't know who Kuan is, and Kuan is literally the yin to the yang, so to speak. When we first started, because when we first started jiu-jitsu,
I'm definitely the yin, by the way. In that metaphor,
I have no idea what the difference is. None whatsoever.
Yang is like the like masculine, like right. Whatever the opposite of that was.
Because so for everyone who doesn't know and stuff, and eventually I'll get him on here as well too. My younger brother was the brown belt. Like he was the one at the time, right? So this was back in November of 2004. He was the brown belt. He was like the head figure of what Ubreed Academy Chicago, and he went into Carlson's one day. We trained. Remember that one time we were helping him prepare for his MMA fight for that Total Fight Challenge fight, whatever. I heard Crown.
I remember.
Remember that? And he beat the crap out of us,
Yep.
and then he just goes, "I need better training." Look straight dead in the face, and we're dead. We're just dead. Quan and I have just been beat the shit out of, and he just looks at us like, "I need better training."
Yeah, I remember we were in the ring, right,
yes.
helping him train. I remember that.
Right.
And, basically on a lark, Miles is like, instead of going to Carlson's and I guess probably like paying for whatever the FitPlex membership, blah, 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 why don't, let's just, I think it was on a whim, he was almost like, let's just see what we can do up and how did we even get hooked up with, what was the place called in Evanston?
All fit.
All right. I wanted to say White Hen.
Which is right next to it. But yeah.
How did that happen? I don't remember.
You called me up one day, so like I think I found a place.
I found it?
Yeah, you found it. It was just off the Northwestern campus. You found it. You're the one who found it. And then you called me, and then I called Miles, and then Miles called Dave England, and then like sat there and set up a meeting, and then we all went up that one time.
I didn't know I found it.
It was a random Saturday that we just all went there, and we rolled out that little foamy, like kind of, it wasn't even wrestling mat. It was just like foam.
It was like that red in the dance.
Yeah, in the dance studio, like a little red foam type deal thing. We just beat the crap out of each other for a little bit. And he was just like, yeah, you guys can hold classes in here. And then that's how
I didn't even know I founded this whole shit. this whole thing.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. It's all because of you. It's all because of you.
That's why I wanted to say White Hen. I'm sure it was because I was walking to White Hen to get probably alcohol, right? And I saw. Did they already have jiu-jitsu, or it was just a boxing?
They didn't have jiu-jitsu. They had boxing. They had Pilates. Boxing, Pilates, and like you lift weights in there and stuff. But that's what they had.
Remember Phil?
Hey, he lived in the back closet.
I remember my house.
But when we first started this whole thing, it kind of worked out. It was just really crazy because Miles started the gym in November of 2004, and then he took his job, and you're the one who actually took him away from us because you introduced him to Ask Me Now, and then he became your boss.
Yeah.
And then he became your boss.
Yeah.
And then he took a job. They outsourced all the Ask Me Now employees or workforce to the Philippines. And Miles took that job and just said, well, I'm going to close the academy. And that's it.
The whole story is I introduced Miles to Ask Me Now. He quickly became my boss and got paid more than me. And then he outsourced my job to the Philippines. That's the whole story.
That's basically what happened.
Yep.
I remember that because he was just like, all right, I got offered this job. I'm going to take it. It's going to take me back to the Philippines, and you can do whatever you want to do with the gym. Or basically, he gave me the keys to the gym. And it was funny because immediately I called you, and I was like, what do we do? And
you were a blue belt, right?
I just got my purple.
You just got
my purple. Yeah, I got my purple in November of also November of 2004 from junior.
I was still a white belt.
You were still a white belt, but Miles was going to stick around because he went to us to go to the Arnolds. Remember that? He went to us he stuck around for. Actually, no. Did he come back? When it was it in 2005? Oh, Miles came back because remember he would go back and forth. And that's what it was. So you were still a white belt. Yeah, it was like 2004. And then I remember you were still a white belt, and then I remember you going to the Arnolds.
I fought Maxwell.
You fought Maxwell, and you were still a white belt. You were still a white belt, and it was just I was a purple belt already, and I had my blue belt in the car, and you were like, "Hey, Mark, do you have your blue belt? Because I'm just going to sign up for the blue belt division." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care. Here, just take the damn thing." And then you
also gave me my blue belt after. I remember.
Yeah. You made you untie your belt, which was my belt. Like you sat there and tied it right back. You got promoted right there after you beat Maxwell and stuff.
I had that belt for a long time. Do we still have that belt? I gave that belt to Nick Sim, I think.
I should have asked him about that. I completely forgot. You did give that belt. That, by the way, is the legend of the legacy belt, which we talk about every so often during belt promotions and stuff. So that all started with the blue belt, that really old kind of baby blue kimonos. Yeah, the M kimono blue belt that was given to Kuan, and then Kuan gave it to Nick Sim. And now we have no idea where it is, to be honest with you. But it's probably white by now. It's mixed in with other white belts because that thing was raggedy, wretched, and stuff like that.
That was 2005.
Yeah,
right. So
that was in 2005.
2 years in. Because I remember thinking, in my white belt mentality, I used to be nuts about jiu-jitsu, just crazy. I didn't even think you know this, Mark. I had a notebook where I wrote everything down, every single move or thought or concept I had. I would draw pictures, right? That's where I started naming moves, and like that's really what really started me learning jiu-jitsu was writing it all down and thinking about it. And then I realized, and we can talk more about this later. In doing that, I realized moves is the wrong way to do this. Individual moves, because that's how it was taught way back when. Nobody, like nowadays, I go look at like Keenan stuff or whatever, and it's all concepts, right? But 16 years ago, all we had were moves, and it was just a couple moves, right? And you had to fill in all the gaps. And I would keep this notebook. I probably still have it somewhere. I would not only write all these things down, like random thoughts. In the back, I had a log by belt color of everybody I'd ever tapped and what move I got them with. And every time I learned a new move, if I had a little chart for how I would learn the move is if I could do it on a resisting blue belt or above 10 times, right? And I would literally I would remember every roll like a fucking crazy person. And then go on my train ride back up to Evanston, I would fill out my chart. And it was like, I did this move, I did this move today. I got Tony the Tiger, purple belt. And I remember that. He was the first purple belt I tapped, was Tony the Tiger. I still remember. That's how crazy I was about jiu-jitsu way back when.
Do you remember some of the names of the moves that you had? I remember some of them. I teach them as the way that you named them.
The Jackal?
The Jackal
Single
leg
X.
X.
Ice Mountain?
Ice Mountain, yeah. What was Ice Mountain was a Darce.
It was the Darce where you roll under. Shit, I can't.
Kyoto Boat. You remember Kyoto Boat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The New Deal, the arm-in guillotine.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Jennifer Garner.
Trident. Jennifer Garner.
Blackbeard's Delight.
Which one is?
Is the gi choke where you step over? Is the step over gi choke and then you step back with the lapel? Because it looked like a goatee, so it was Blackbeard's Delight. Oh man, there were so many of those. So many of those.
Gosh, I can't. Yeah. Your moves. We never named your moves.
No, like just break things. just break. Yeah, just break things. Just lots of that. Tons of that. But just lots of that. But Kuan was the perfect foil that we needed, honestly, when we were all kind of like growing up and stuff in jiu-jitsu and stuff, because I would literally come in after working 50-hour weeks. I just work like a 10-hour day, go in, try to teach class, be real pissed off, and basically just be not really say anything, just yell, just beat people up and stuff, and just go nuts. And Kuan would be like, just leave them alone. And it would be the night. It was just basically good cop, bad cop every single night. And our practices were like 2.5, 3 hours long. It was just nuts.
I was the Mark Whisperer.
Yes, you were the Mark Whisperer and stuff. Because now I actually learned how to communicate my feelings just by using nothing.
I mean, those first couple of years were, thinking back on it, just the notion at all that you were trying to run a jiu-jitsu school is insane, right? Thinking back on it, how big of a risk and just leap of faith that was, and we had so much help from that initial early group of people who joined, right? Just such a good group that gelled almost immediately. But just thinking back on it, it's crazy to think about that now that I'm a little bit older, right? I mean, at that point, you already had Mikey who was coming over, right? This one popped out at some point right at or around that time, right? When you're like, you were leaving Discover.
Yeah, I used to work at Discover Card, and Lynn was 6.5, 7 months pregnant when I decided. I remember talking to you. I think it was at Clark's when I sat there. We were having like dinner after training, and I think it was at Clark's when I flat out looked you in the face. I was just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna quit my day job and go jiu-jitsu full time. And you looked at me like I was nuts, and I was just like, I'm gonna do it and stuff. And then I remember having that exact same conversation with Lynn like 2 days later. It was like in November. I remember it was 2 days later, and she says she looked at me. She was like, whatever you want to do, like you just give, because she knew I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So basically, it was just like, all right, we're doing it. Then I told you, I think it was like a Saturday or so. I remember it was during the day. It was a Saturday. It had to be like an open mat. I told you that, like, I told her that I was going full time, and you gave me this other look that was still crazy. And I remember because we were on our way. I think we were walking towards Flat Top Grill. I think that's where we were walking towards and stuff, and we were going to go over there.
By the way, where I've never shat my pants.
I was literally gonna lead into that.
In which I've never shat my pants, by the way. Just a sideline fact I want people to know.
But Cyril may have.
We both shat our pants. That's when we drank the vitamin energies.
Oh no, it was Zions, the dragon fruit Zions. Was it
the Zions or the vitamin? It was. Gosh, what was it?
It was dragon fruit. That's all I remember. Is that was the flavor that guys.
We all drank, and we all shat our pants in it, including Henry. Remember? Henry?
He's like. Oh man, what was your favorite memory of Evanston, of the old school stuff? I know you got a ton of favorite memories of it.
There's just almost. I talk to James Concannon about this all the time. Almost all my good memories are from those years, right? Substantially all of my good memories. We didn't realize till once we got to law school and out of law school that those were the salad days. That's when everything was as good as I think it could get. There's too many memories to name, but I have an image of like what's good is on a Saturday morning, walking from my dorm to Altfit with my gi, right? Didn't even have a bag, just the gi and the belt for open mat. And especially in like the summertime, right? Springtime, Chicago summers, going there, seeing literally all of my best friends in one room, training, fucking around, afterwards, getting drinks, getting lunch, right? That concept is something kind of seared into my memory as just a platonic form of what's good. And it's been hard to like recapture, even to get a flavor, a whiff of that again. Since then, it really hasn't been possible. But for those, 5 years, we did that, and it was instrumental in many ways, not just for like my jiu-jitsu, but I don't know that I would have been able to do any of the stuff I've been able to do since then without that period of my life, because I learned so much about like how to be an adult, how to deal with other people of all walks, right? All different, backgrounds, ways of thinking, ways of living, ages, professions, everything. We had a very, very eclectic group. Right? I mean, at one point we had a team math and science. Right?
Team math and science.
In the same group, you had a guy who went to prison in the Navy for allegedly moving a lot of drugs, right? And then you had Josh Keller, who is a material scientist, PhD, and creative writer, right? And then you have Dr. You have just so many people. So when you ask about good memories, there's certainly like specific memories, but that overall kind of time frame was just good for me. I think it was it taught me a lot about a lot of things.
We refer, and Maya's been there when we refer to when I'm talking to other students and stuff. It could be at an open mat, it could be whatever, maybe just have a barbecue. And I keep referring like, man, you guys you guys don't know, Evanston was just awesome. It was a perfect time. It was we had it was just literally every single person was integral to what we became today. Every single person.
We,
Every single person.
I remember we used to have barbecues or just parties, right, at people's house, and I would get so excited. I would get so excited that I couldn't modulate how much to drink, and I would get blackout drunk before the thing even began almost every time because it was just so. I was so looking forward to hanging out with everybody. I remember when Galvan was there, that one, right? I passed out and people like drool over me, right? But that used to happen at almost all the official get-togethers.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the reason was, I think, early signs of alcoholism. But the more significant reason is that I was just so excited to hang out with all my friends in a place where like there was zero feeling of like being uncomfortable or awkward or not sure of myself with that group. That I'll always remember. Remember going to Chong's to watch UFC.
Yes.
Right. Going to Nick Sims for barbecue, having adobo there. I remember going to Amazon's house and
with the pillars. With the pillars,
and his parents had the plastic on the couches. I mean, yeah, all that stuff. And I keep up. I go on Instagram every now and then and keep up with you guys, and it seems like a big chunk of that has continued, where it's not just people just show up to train and do jiu-jitsu for their hour and a half. People are making friends for life.
Yeah, trust me, we've tried to keep that going the whole time, like to really keep that going the whole time, and I think we have. I really think we have, and we could always do a better job, but like it's really, like you said, it's extremely difficult. Like that was those 5 years, lightning in the bottle moment. Like it really was like a lightning in the bottle moment. Like it just kept going and going and going. It was just a lot of fun.
How old was Maya by the time I left?
When did you leave?
2010?
2010?
No, 2008. 2008.
Just a year and change. Just a year and change. I remember that. Yeah, so yeah, she was barely walking at that time. So for people who don't know, I gotta tell this already. It's tough. Maya is here again because Kuan is her godfather, her one remaining godfather.
What? Only one.
Only one. And the funny thing about that is
500 on Godfather. It's pretty good in baseball. I don't know how good it is in terms of Godfather, but you'd be in the Hall of Fame.
There you go. But Kuan was actually in the delivery room when Maya was born. That is a true story. I don't even know how it happened, but you somehow got stuck in there, and they wouldn't let you out.
It happened like so many things that we did, where you're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I go, "No." And you're like, "You want to come to the hospital?" Lynn's in labor. I'm like, "All right."
I was there all day long, and you guys actually literally just promoted me before the brown belt. Remember in the lobby?
Right.
The Western Hospital and stuff. And then I think I was like, "What are you doing right now? You want to say hi to Lynn?" And then you walked in, and then boom, like it's just all of a sudden it just went.
I came by. I remember you asked me to go to, where was it? To the gym or somewhere to get your 24 DVD.
Yeah, my 24 DVD.
So your father, while you were born, Maya, he made me go get his DVDs of 24, the show with Kiefer Sutherland, so he could watch that while you were getting born. So I go to deliver these DVDs. I don't know how you needed more than the one season. You're like, get the whole thing, right?
I was going to be how long I was going to be in there.
So I think I went there to deliver the DVDs to you. And unbeknownst to me, like Lynn was already deep into labor. So I get there and the doctor's there, the nurse is there. And I'm like, oh shit, this is way closer to the thing than I. you're like, just stay. I'm like, all right, I'll just stay. And then I was like, all right, I'm in the room. The nurse is coming by, and the doctor's coming by. I was like, it's gonna happen, Jesus. And I was like, I still remember there's a bed and her head's against the wall, right? And the business end is pointed this way. So I'm like, I'm gonna go sit by her head, right? And the nurse is like, great, you can actually hold the bucket. I'm like, the bucket? So there's a bucket that apparently, women sometimes in labor will puke. So I held a bucket for Lynn to puke into. And to her credit, it was only, I think, a little bit once. While Mark was across the room watching the 20. I'm like, what? But then, it was strategic because I'm gonna sit on this end of things by her head, so then I don't have to see anything, right? But then the delivery started to happen, and then the nurse goes, "Get the mirror." The mirror, and they wheel out the biggest mirror I've ever seen in my life. The biggest, like an antique showroom mirror, and they wheel it out because apparently it helps her, right, to watch as she's pushing. And I'm by the head. And I'm like, and I'm holding the bucket with my eyes closed. And then Maya got born. I still remember. Came out, very dark skin. I was a little bit worried. And then they put her in what was basically a big Tupperware, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And then I still remember this. She opened her eyes, and they did some eye drops in it, and her eyes dilated. And I was just hovering above her like this, and I was the first human you saw, Maya.
That's true. I was on the other side of the room. I was on the other side of the room with Lynn and stuff. Making sure she was.
I saw your eyes dilate. I'm like, Jesus, whoa. And you had those teeth even back then. Like, yeah, just one big curvy tooth. That's what you came out with.
Snaggletooth. You came out like Snaggletooth.
I remember that.
But so that is actually why Maya's on here and why Maya's so attached to Kuan. But there's so many stories, man. You're right though. There's way too many stories. Like Vinny and his Black Dynamite stage, like the Vinny on the ball. They all revolve around Vinny, of course, and stuff.
Vinny was a very good addition to the franchise.
Yes. He was a good free agent.
So initially, when I first met this guy, I may have even talked to you. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Who did have this guy here? Did you hear what he was saying? There's people around. And he's like, who's this? I remember he was rolling with Mike Sin the first time I saw him. Because I think he'd been training with Jeff Neal.
Yes, out in Rolling Meadows. Meadows, I believe. Yeah, out there and stuff.
And he was and still is just a brute, right? And he was like muscling Mike Sim around and talking shit. And I'm like, who is this? We can't have any of this. This is not what we're doing here. And lo and behold, now Vinny is one of the pillars and figureheads.
Right.
What a good ad. That's like in my mind, it's like if it's a long movie, right? Your life is. At some point the pacing of the movie is a little off. It's a little slower, blah blah blah. And so you add a new character to liven things up. And Scotty and Vinny were those two new characters for those last, 2.5, 3 years?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's so good, so good. For me, it was I straight up like, and I forgot to mention this too when I was talking to Vinny and Elvis, but they're a part of. If I ever win Powerball or anything like that, I'm gonna basically buy them out, have them just come work for me, and all I want it to be is like Entourage, where Johnny Drama's Vinny, Elvis is E, and I'll get Icebeck to be Turtle.
Icebeck.
That's my plan. So like that is 110% my plan if I win the Powerball. Like screw that, I'll still do jiu-jitsu and everything like that, but I just want to go everywhere with them and just talk to them and stuff. But
I think about Icebeck a lot as like a testament to whatever we were doing at the time was different. and meaningfully different. Eisbeck had trained he trained at Tokan, he trained at Carlson's, right? I remember I'd rolled with him one. He was very rough. He was very vigorous. Very vigorous. And wasn't super friendly, I think, the first time I'd rolled with him. And then I fought him was that the Arnold's too?
It was also at the Arnold's. That was when it was in the stadium. It was in the whatever stadium, like that was across from the convention center and stuff.
Right.
It was there. I remember that. I forget how else to put there.
07, 06 or something.
Yes.
I fought up in a weight because Mike Kong was here.
Right.
And I think Cyril was. So I think I fought up 1 or 2 weights actually to fight Eisbeck. And I still remember it to this day. He broke my will. I remember my will being broken. Like at one point I had my will still there intact, and then like 3 full minutes of Eisbeck later, my will was broken. He just tired me out, beat me, and then somehow we ended up partying with him that night.
Yes. We watched BJ Penn. We watched BJ Penn St. Pierre, the first time they fought. We had a Hooters, and then we ended up like partying with him afterwards.
That's when he was driving around, right? We were dancing with the Madonna song.
I wasn't. You guys were. I was already passed out. Yeah.
Threw a picnic bench into a lake somehow.
Yes, at a mini golf place.
Right.
I remember the pictures. You guys showed me pictures the next day. I was like, what the hell?
But then, this guy had been training at these different schools and was very, very militaristic almost about it, but trained just super hard and wasn't very friendly. Joins us shortly thereafter, and now friends for life. I think we were doing something special and different at that time.
Yeah, I tell everybody that trains with us. There's a long storied. There's a lot of legendary people that have that have shared the mats with us and stuff. You're one of them. Eisbeck's one of them. All the OGs are one of them. And these guys, if there's a way, I mean, this is the good thing about what we're doing right now. It's a way for these guys to understand everyone that was part of all of us growing up. All the characters growing up, all the figures and everything like that. All of the people who influenced what it is that we've been able to build. And quite frankly, even though you're in New York and stuff, everything that we've gone through still really has an effect on what I do every day. What I do every day, like on the mats with the guys and even off them as well too. And it's just like so from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for all of that stuff, because those were the best of times. But to me, it still hasn't ended. Like that ride hasn't ended yet and stuff. So it's just like it just keeps going, keeps changing. Get some shitty parts, but it just keeps going and stuff. So thank you for allowing me to be crazy and just get on that path and stuff. I'm not as crazy anymore. I'm pretty sure you figured that one out yet. I actually use words now. So, but before it was just like I could just growl and do things and things would happen and stuff. But is there anything that you want to share? Because while we start wrapping this up, is there anything that you want to share, story-wise or dare I say lesson-wise too? Any parting words to like the guys that train with us now and all our other affiliates and stuff, the extended affiliates like Nick's Sid School, Mike's Sid School, Bot's School, everyone else's and stuff. Anything you want to say?
What I would say is I think to anyone who's a kind of a beginner in the art or just thinking about joining or has done it on and off and really hasn't gotten bit by the bug and really devoted themselves to it, I would say I can trace every good development in my life since leaving Chicago to jiu-jitsu and to new breed, every single one. And I can trace them very specifically to jiu-jitsu and to new breed. Right now I'm a lawyer. I'm a corporate litigator. And I can trace exactly how, and I recently made partner at my firm. I can trace exactly how I got here to jiu-jitsu, right? It's 2 major things. One is by doing jiu-jitsu and getting obsessed about it, probably to a slightly unhealthy degree. What I learned was jiu-jitsu was a true skill, right? And as with all true skills, there are ways to get better at it. And the way to get better at jiu-jitsu and any true skill is diligent practice, but then like really, really throwing yourself at the concepts and trying to understand it. Once I figured out that everything was like that, including law, including litigation, it really, really helped. Every task I do at work, I sometimes think about it in the mindset I used to of jiu-jitsu. Where does this fit into the overall picture and the overall game, right? Because the litigation's just a fight too. Someone v someone else, company V, company B, right? I think I've been able to be a better lawyer because of how I learned to think about how to do things because of doing jiu-jitsu. That's one. And two, when I started with you, Mark, I was 18, hadn't seen much of the world, right? From Southwest Ohio, didn't know anything, hadn't really met anyone, didn't really get along with, I think, people at Northwestern. It just, I don't know. I was a bit of a eccentric kind of, outcast is the wrong word, but I just didn't get along with those people for any number of reasons. All of my best friends in life I met through jiu-jitsu, and a large portion of them, the vast majority, are men. And I learned from training a new breed, from doing jiu-jitsu, how to interact with like dudes of all different walks of life, as I mentioned before, how to speak to people from all different walks of life. It's actually incredibly important in my job, right? Because you don't know who you're speaking with on a day-to-day basis. A lot of what we do is we just question people, and to be effective, you got to be able to to some extent make some sort of connection with them from thousands and thousands of hours of like hanging out with different people who are, couldn't be made more different. I think I learned a set of skills, at least that sort of like personal interaction, that I don't know that I ever would have if I had like a standard college experience and just pledged some Asian frat and did that. I don't know. I can trace every single success in my life to it. And the last thing, and it's the biggest, we talk about this with Cyril all the time. I was like, Cyril, do you think if we never did jiu-jitsu, we would have even remotely the same level of confidence? And he said, absolutely not. Right. To be able to walk around and just be confident and comfortable in your own skin. It took me, 10 years of doing jiu-jitsu and being relatively good at it for some period of time to get there. That sort of confidence, like I don't know that I would have had without it. And it's so important. So I would say to anybody thinking about doing the sport or already in it and kind of on the fence, you should absolutely do it. And the way to do it is you should throw yourself at it. I think doing it that way will make everything in your life outside of it better, probably in the long run as well. But that's what I would say.
Thanks for that. I mean, I don't even know what to say to that because it's all, there's no way I could even, nothing for me to even add to that because that's actually probably the well-spoken way anyone's ever put that before. I preach that all the time. Jiu-jitsu is a metaphor for everything that we do in life. You could find a metaphor in jiu-jitsu for everything that we do in life, but like that's 110% real life experience right there. Kuan, I know we've been at this for about 45 minutes, I think it is, and stuff. And both you and I know we could talk about this for a while. Just
Yeah.
grab a beer, just keep going crazy and go or doing whatever and keep talking about it. But I got to wrap this up sooner or later because I'm going to run out of recording on Zoom here. So I am going to just say thank you again for coming on and stuff. I know you're a busy guy. I didn't realize you actually had made partner. I know that you were trying to for the longest time. So belated congratulations. Thanks again for doing this. Really appreciate it, guys. This is Kuan. We would not be who we are, and I would not have had to have forced myself to learn to actually be able to talk to people instead of just trying to kick the living crap out of them if it wasn't for Quan either and stuff. So thank you again. Really appreciate it. Guys, I hope that everyone that watches this learned a little something about this. Hope you had a couple of laughs. And I'll go from there, guys. So thanks again for tuning in. Ma, you want to say bye first before Uncle Quan does?
Bye-bye.
Quan, any parting words or anything like that?
Thanks for arranging this. Thank you for sending the Zoom link, Maya, and reminding me to take a shower. This was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys stay safe and healthy.
All righty. Thank you again, guys, for tuning in. Recording is going to end in 3, 2,